Okay, so in this part we are going to display the posts. As you see here, I have put some content in index.php, which includes a navigation. It looks horrible, I know. That's not the point though. Here's how I created it. I applied some styling here. And here I have a nav element, which is an HTML5 element, with this unordered list of links. Feel free to do it however you want. And I have this heading 1 tag element, and of course I include init.php. Okay, so we need to get all the posts. This is of course done using the get posts function. However, we have not yet created that. Let's just keep it simple. We're not going to worry about ID and get ID just yet. All we're going to do is specify a query. It's probably the largest one in the entire series, but once you understand how this works, you will be able to perform a hell of a lot of tasks with PHP and MySQL. Alright, so what are we going to select? We're going to select the post ID. Now note that I add posts in front of here. This is the table name, posts. We're selecting the ID in the posts table. The reason I'm adding this here is because we will also select the categories ID. Now, because we are using two ID fields here, we need to name them something else. So I'm just going to use the as keyword to specify a new sort of temporary name for these IDs. And I'm going to do the same for the category ID. Alright, other fields are the title, of course, the contents, the date posted, and categories dot name. We're going to select it from the posts table, and here we go, inner join. I'll just type it out for now. Inner join with categories on categories dot ID equals posts dot get ID. What does this mean? Basically, you can select data from multiple tables by using this inner join syntax. We select data from categories and posts where, how shall I put it? Well, where the ID and get ID are the same. So to retrieve the category name for a specific post, because we only store the category ID in the posts table, we need to perform an inner join. So here for the first post we have a get ID of 1. So when we join it with categories, we select the name where the ID here equals 1. So let me just copy this query and run it in phpMyAdmin. And there's our result. Here you see name uncategorized, even though we do not have a category name field in the posts table. So this is incredibly useful. Oh, up here I'm going to say posts equals array. Of course we need to run this query. So query equals MySQL query. Now, as with the getCategories function, we loop over it with MySQL fetch assoc in a while loop, and we say posts equals row, and then we return posts. So now we can use this here on index.php, and we're just going to get posts, but forgot one thing. We're going to order it by ID descending. This simply means that we select all the data in a descending order. So the largest ID gets sort of displayed first. Okay. So in here we're going to use a for each loop for each post as post, and here we come to a point where it might look a little messy, but well, actually you'll just find out as I go along in doing this. The first thing we're going to do in here is check if the category exists. Category exists, and we're going to use the name field and post name, because that is what the category name is stored in. So why do we do this? Well, the reason is we added some functionality to delete categories. However, we did not handle anything related to the posts in that category. So say we had a MySQL category which had some posts, but you decided to delete the MySQL category. You would have those posts in no category. So by default, we're going to make that uncategorized. Now this is actually a sort of terrible workaround, and the reason I'm not going into much detail about this is because it is actually a pretty good challenge for you to implement into this system. I can do everything for you, but that also takes away some of the learning for you. Anyway, we are now going to start actually displaying things. The first thing is a heading 2, in which we are going to, of course, display the title. So in here we say echo post title, and in here we say index.php id equals echo post and post id. When we now view this, okay, we have an error again, line 43. Order up, this should be post ID or posts post.id. And now we should get third post yay, second post, and first post. In the next part we are going to finish this up, so see you there.